How are we doing, guys? So, we are back again with the fans post-match review, post-match debate, whatever you want to call it, guys. I am Oscar from All Leeds TV. In case you guys didn't know or didn't see in the description down below, we are here for the fans post-match. So Burnley won, Leeds won. Not the most thrilling of games, and that's probably putting it lightly, really. It really wasn't the most thrilling of games. Got a couple of guests in that waiting room. I can see Ethan there. I can see Michael 20. I'll be with you guys as soon as possible. In fact, let's just go to Ethan first. Ethan is a first come, first serve basis on this channel. So we'll just go to Ethan first. We'll be with you in 1 second, Michael. So, my man Ethan, Burnley won, Leeds won. 2 points out of 3 games so far, mate. Yeah. Are you any concern at all for you so far? Yes, yeah, concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? I think the performances haven't been great either, have they? Let's be honest. In terms of, really, I can't really say we deserve more than 2 points out of the first 3 based on how we played. I don't know if you'd agree with that, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, did anyone impress you yesterday at all?
No.
I'll take that as a no. Then I'll take that as a no. It's look, it was a tough one yesterday, wasn't it? It was a tough one, but we get ourselves the point.
Yeah.
I mean, Bamford was all right. Bamford was all right, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I thought out of the outfielders, Bamford had a pretty decent game for us today. Yesterday even. I mean, do you think we make any signings between now and deadline day?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you do think we'll make signings?
Yeah. Where I go now?
It's one of them, isn't it? I think we do need.
It
feels like we. You think O'Neill from Huddersfield? O'Brien from Huddersfield. You don't think that's going to happen?
No.
I mean, there's rumours about Dan James, as our man Joe Wayman points out. I mean, I'd be happy with Dan James. I'm the same. I'm the same. I want that to happen as well. I think you look at that bench yesterday, even if Dan James is probably, certainly at first, would probably be a bench player for us. I think that'd definitely be a boost in terms of depth. I think it's a better option than Costa is, let's be honest. I think he's definitely a better option than Costa. But I mean, it could happen, it could not happen. There's been a couple of different rumours. We will sign Oscar on a loan deal on deadline day. I love that one. Love that one. You don't want me, mate. You don't want me, honestly. It's sign Phil, the king of nutmegs. He'd do a job. Well, he thinks he would anyway. But this is a good point. I thought Meslier did okay yesterday. I think he made some good saves at important times. Russ Vernon's saying he'd only take James if Costa left. I mean, do you think Costa could move on?
Yeah.
You do before deadline day?
Yeah.
It feels like it could be something that happens. It feels like it's something that could happen in terms of he's not come on now the last 2 games. He didn't impress against Crewe. He got hooked off early in that game. Yeah, it feels like it could happen. If it's not this window, it's probably going to be January. I do feel that Helder Costa, unfortunately, his time at this football club could be coming to an end. Joe Wayman trying to get Oscar excited on an early Sunday morning. I've seen that, but don't get me excited. It makes so much sense as well. It's just I don't need that excitement in my life. I don't need that excitement and then utter disappointment when it doesn't happen. And I can't do it again, man. I can't do it again. I can't. I really can't do that. When that rumour first started, I was getting so excited. But Ethan, obviously, the next game back is Liverpool. Not ideal, is it? Let's be honest, Liverpool. But do you see changes before that game in terms of obviously Click and Firpo? Do you think they come straight back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, obviously, that was a big blow, them missing yesterday. And to be fair, Russ has quite rightly pointed out it's Monday morning rather than Sunday morning. That is quite true. It's bank holiday. Let me off, mate. Let me off. Let me off. Come on, guys. Let me off. It's basically a day off anyway, isn't it, guys? A lot of comments about that anyway. But yeah, it is Monday morning, guys, just to emphasise. If you do have work today, if you are working through the bank holiday, then do go to work because it is Monday rather than Sunday. Yeah, Rodrigo was disappointing as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I thought yesterday. It's not happening for him at the minute, is it? For me, I think Rodrigo, he's got to play up top. If he's playing at all, play him up top. I just think it's pointless in playing anywhere else, if I'm being totally honest. Do you agree with that, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any other kind of like takes from the game? I mean, are you concerned about the dreaded R word or anything like that? I mean, there's a couple of mentions of that on Twitter. I'm not really either. It's, I mean, it just does feel a little bit early to be talking about that for me.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think obviously having Liverpool next and then Newcastle, West Ham, we might still be low on points. We might still be winless after 5 or 6 games. So we know there'll be panicking setting in then. We know the Leeds fan base. We know what we're all like. There will be panicking setting in. But yeah, mate. So if you had to give a man the match yesterday, who you going for?
Gaku.
If you Bamford.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think Bamford was superb, but I thought he made the decisive contribution, didn't he, mate? But I mean, on the basis that we don't make any more signings, if I had to push you for a prediction before I let you go, mate, if I had to push you up for a prediction for the rest of this season where Leeds will finish, what are you saying?
Nigga.
8th?
Yeah.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that all day long. That's probably the most enthusiastic prediction I've heard since the season kicked off. But I mean, look, we can. The thing is, we're only a point down on last season. We lost to Everton last season at home. We beat Burnley away. Obviously, we lost to Man United away last season. So we're only actually a point down in terms of comparatively speaking. That might be a very positive way of looking at it, but it's facts. It is facts. We're only a point down on last season so far. I'd take 8th all day long. If we get 8th, that's an absolutely brilliant season. But this is a good point off my man James. Do feel the international break will help. It will allow Marcelo to really fix our issues we've had over the last 4 games, crew included. Don't start worrying until we get to the 8 or 10 game mark. Totally agree with that, because we've only lost 1 game out of 4. At the end of the day, we've only taken. Even Joe Waven's enthusiastic about 8th now. Joe was saying 4th at the start of the season. I'm messing. But no, look, I mean, we'd all be buzzing with 8th. If we're pushing for that Europa Conference again, I think we'd all be absolutely buzzing. Well, yeah, I mean, I think I'll let you go there, Ethan. I'll hopefully see you after that international break, after we beat Liverpool. We'll have that discussion then, mate. But thanks so much for joining me again, Ethan. My man, Ethan, never lets us down on these. See you later, mate.
Okay, go. Okay.
Sorry about that. It took my stream out. It took the wrong stream out. Oh no! That was as bad as Leeds' defending it gets. That looks so deliberate as well. That probably looks so deliberate, but it really wasn't deliberate. I did actually genuinely click the wrong screen. That was like Leeds' defending, wasn't it, on that Burnley goal, wasn't it? Let's be honest, guys. Keep smashing that like button, guys. Keep smashing that like button. I do apologise for that to Ethan, my man Ethan there. So now I'm going to let in the absolute legend, making his first appearance of this season. He's here. It's Michael Swinley.
You all right?
How are we, mate? How are things?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. When I don't think about football, I'm good for the time being. I mean, it's mate. Yesterday,
great, is it?
It wasn't great yesterday. Look, no. I mean, we're only 3 games into the season. Yeah. It's just, I think part of the thing for me, Michael, is we've become so accustomed to starting the seasons brilliantly under Bielsa on absolute fire that now we're having a bit of a. I wouldn't say it's so much a bad start because point against Everton, point against Burnley. It's not terrible, but it's just a bit average. I mean, do you think it's as bad as what it feels like at this moment in time?
Just haven't got started, basically. I don't think. I don't know if he's trying out like a new formation and stuff, and starting with 3 at the back, permanently going forward. I don't know if that's going to be something new or something like that. But yeah, it's not working at the moment.
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? I think we're so used to dominating games and creating the vast majority of the chances, looking like a threat for 90 minutes, basically. I mean, we just haven't really looked like that, have we, really, so far, in terms of at that level?
No.
Did anyone impress you yesterday, mate?
Oh, Calvin. Well, that he was like covering the whole midfield, wasn't he? So I felt sorry for him. To be
he was a one-man midfield, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a one-man midfield. I mean, Rodrigo was basically everywhere, but not in a good way. He was just like everywhere but in the middle of the park where he should have been, helping Calvin out. But I mean, even by Calvin's standards, I thought it was a little bit below his best, but I still say he had a decent enough game. Anyone else impress you yesterday? I mean, I thought Bamford did okay, and not just because of the goal. I thought he did okay in the game.
Yeah, him tussling with those 2 centre halves was just. I just love Bamford now. The way he thrives on, a good old tussle. I'm not quite sure on the refereeing yesterday.
Shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah, this new rule. I don't know how. I like a good tackle more than anyone else, but I think it went over the line a couple of times yesterday. Not mention the Dallas one, but yeah.
Well, I mean, this new rule just seems to be you can basically 2-foot anyone if you want to. That's basically what this rule is. Because I mean, some of the tackles that went in yesterday. I mean, I'm the same as you. I like a physical game, but come on, like some of it was just going way over the top. Really, I mean, it was definitely something last season that Burnley wouldn't have tried because they wouldn't have got away with it. It's absolutely simple as that. But I mean, obviously, the rumour at this moment in time is Dan James potentially. According to Joe, you're not particularly infused by Dan James, though.
I mean, I knew it. Good old Joe.
I mean, is that your view? I mean, Somerville is a better option than James.
I think he's as good. And he just needs to be given a chance. He's from what I've been seeing, he's whipping up the under-23s. I know under-23s is a much lower level, but he's been having 3-4 players around him, and they just can't cope with him. He's been playing 45 minutes and then bringing him off, and then he's been on the bench. So the signs are there that he must be close. So
I like Somerville as well, to be honest. I think Somerville is definitely a better option than Costa and Poveda. Hence the reason Poveda's gone out on loan. I mean, I'm not sure. I think obviously we've got to see him in the Premier League first because we've seen a lot of players in the 23s perform, and then when obviously they step up into the senior team, it's not really happened for him so far. So I'd still personally like James, but I don't necessarily think it has to be at the cost of Somerville. Because the amount of injuries we get each season, obviously in terms of fatigue kicking in, we will need 4 wingers in my view. I think we will need 4 wingers, and I don't know about you, Michael, but I just don't think Costa we can rely on as part of those 4 wingers to produce.
He's had his chance, I think. Yeah, definitely. He isn't the one. What was that? Wolves, definitely.
No. It's a Barry Douglas situation again, isn't it? Really, in terms of it's just hasn't worked out for him. But big thanks to our man Lee Waters, fantastic supporter of the channel. Burnley and Everton aren't mugs to this league. They've been here for years. I don't think we should judge just yet. Get a win and go from there, marching on together. Yeah, I agree. I think obviously, and that was the point really, in terms of the games we played against these 3 teams last season, we're only a point worse off. So we're not that much worse off. I think Everton have proven they're a good team. Yeah, they're near the top of the table. That might not prove to be too bad a point, and I don't think it is too bad a point. Burnley away, look, there's no easy away games at this level. No easy away games at all at this level. So I'm not too concerned. I mean, would you agree with that, Michael? Would you agree with that? that we need to give it a bit more time?
Yeah, just give it a bit more time. What if we beat Liverpool?
Exactly.
We gave them a good game last year, didn't we? So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think we will beat Liverpool, to be honest.
No,
I think that's going to be a really tough game. But yeah, I think you just got to look at the start to the season. We've been given, obviously, Man United, Everton, Liverpool in the first 4 games is not exactly easy to get a flying start off with. But look, people are naturally going to panic because we're so used to starting the season well. But I just don't see the reasons to panic so far, because let's be honest, Bamford's had a couple of other chances in that game. One at the start of the second half, another one just after they scored. On another day, if we're a little bit more clinical, we'd probably take the points yesterday. We'd probably take all the points, and albeit a very unconvincing performance, but we probably do take the points. I mean, for you, Michael, then, there's 2 days left of this window. Well, less than 2 days now.
Mm-hmm.
If you can sign one player or one particular position, what target are you going for?
I'll go for O'Brien. Just get that extra few million.
O'Brien from Huddersfield.
Yeah, I just think that's just, you can get up and down. So I just think, from what happened yesterday, if we get an injury in midfield, it's just a nightmare, isn't it? Really.
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously, we're kind of into that situation where we're relying on Forshaw's fitness again, which I like Forshaw. I think he showed a lot against Crewe. I know it's only Crewe, but we can't be relying on Forshaw. We can't be saying, okay, if player A gets injured or player B gets injured, Forshaw will come in. I just don't see us being able to plan the squad in that way. I think we can only take it as and when with Forshaw at this moment in time. So you go midfield and Lewis O'Brien.
Yeah. I think he's a decent player. I think he scored at the weekend as well.
He did. And since he's come into the team, Huddersfield, I think, have won 3 games in a row. They had a dodgy start to the season, so it tells you a lot. It does tell you a lot. I think he's a decent player as well, myself, and I think he's well suited to being I think at the end of the day, Michael, if Bielsa looks so willing to target a play, the fact he's gone to, I think he went to Sheffield Wednesday to watch Huddersfield play. If he's making that kind of effort, he's obviously made an impression on Bielsa, and that's good enough for me. That is good enough for me. I mean, Lads to Leeds makes the point that creativity and control in the middle is what's worrying me. I feel we're behind where we were. I agree with that. I do think we're still behind. I think all the evidence points to that. To be honest, mate, I do think that. But what do you think to the creativity situation? Because I don't think O'Brien necessarily solves that issue. Or are you less concerned about that? Because we haven't replaced Pablo, have we? We haven't replaced Pablo.
No. Maybe we just need to go down, rely on Rafa and Harrison. That's all I can say. I'm a bit worried about Rodrigo. Where is he going to fit in? Because obviously he doesn't track back. Obviously that's not his natural thing. He's not a midfielder. He's a centre forward, but that's Bamford's position, isn't it? Do we change some tactic? I don't know. I just worry for Rodrigo. That's it.
Yeah, for me, Michael, Rodrigo, play him centre forward or don't play him at all. That's my honest opinion now. I just don't see it happening for the lad now in midfield. I just don't think he just isn't a midfielder for me.
No,
or number 10.
Yeah. I thought Roberts done better when he came on.
Yeah, I agree. I think the last 2 or 3 games Roberts has come on, he's done better than Rodrigo. He's created a couple of openings. But I mean, are you concerned defensively at all, mate? In terms of, obviously, we're letting 7 goals. Is it 7? No, it's more than that, isn't it? 8 goals now. 8 goals in the last 3. Are you concerned at all defensively, or do you just think it's
Man United was Man United? The Man United and the Liverpools and the Cities and the Chelseas, they're like free hits, as we say.
Well, I guess conceding 3 and 2 against Everton and Burnley, that's a little bit concerning.
A little bit. But I thought Llorente played well in the end. It's good to have him back. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of centre backs, haven't we? So I'm a bit worried about Ayling as well. He hasn't started.
Yeah, he's not, has he? I mean, that goal against Man United, I think since he hit that shot, it's kind of all gone wrong, hasn't it? I think it all went wrong in that game. Maybe that just turned into absolute chaos. He's just had a nightmare for the rest of the game. And yeah, I agree with that. I think a couple of people have mentioned that on Twitter, Facebook, and even on YouTube, actually, on some of our comments, that Ayling's not looked the same. I mean, what do you think that's down to anything specific, or just that he's just genuinely a little bit out of form?
I don't know. Maybe clubs have found him out, found his weakness. I don't know.
It's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I didn't think he was bad against Everton. But yeah, the last 2 away games, he struggled really. I mean, obviously, I think McNeil had the beating of him yesterday. I actually think Ayling looked better when he went from right wing back into the back three, when he dropped a little bit deeper into the like the right side of the back three. I thought he looked a lot better at that point, and he was actually getting forward better in a weird way as well. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm still keeping Ayling in the team. No question about that. For me, I think I've got no problems with Jamie Shackleton in that position, but I still think Ayling, I think he's definitely worth keeping in the team for now. Obviously, it's a concern, in terms of obviously. The next game coming up is Liverpool, and Sadio Mane is going to be running at him. That's a bit of a concern when he's a little bit out of form as well. You don't want him out of form going into a game like that.
It's not good at the moment. Wait to see what deadline brings, and hopefully our form will turn around.
Yeah, exactly. I think it will. To be honest. But I mean, obviously, Firpo didn't play yesterday. But what have you made to him so far? Sort of first 3 games or so.
I think it's a bit early. I think
because you were a massive Alioski fan, so obviously from your point of view, Alioski's come out, Firpo's come in. I know it's not necessarily a direct replacement, but how do you think there's any kind of comparison so far?
I think Bielsa said that he wants them to sort of gel together really quickly, and he thinks he can. That's why he brought him in. But Alioski would have been great yesterday, I would have thought. To be fair, I think he would have been bombing forward.
Yeah, I think when they started to sit deep, Burnley, and everything was in front of Alioski, would have been in front of Alioski. It might have been quite a handy game that, but no, I do think Firpo's the better player. To be honest, mate, I know obviously he's not shown it so far, but I do think he's going to come good for us. Yeah, I mean, this is a good point from Lee. I think we judge too hard. These lads have just had the best 2 seasons of their careers. Bar the obvious new signings, we have a rough start and we worry it will come good. No, I still think it will come good. I mean, we've just heard from Ethan. Ethan's predicting 8th, that we're going to finish 8th, which I'm absolutely loving. that.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit less enthusiastic than that, I'll be honest, but I'm going to wait until the end of the deadline day to really stick to a number. But if you had to give us a number of where we'll finish, mate?
I'll go for 12th, yeah.
12. I'd take that. I'd take 12. I mean, 12th of a cup run and continuing to progress and all that. I'd take, to be honest. I don't think that's too bad a season at all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And again,
do you think that we'll do more 3 at the back? Do you think he's experimenting with that?
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because obviously against Everton, we started with a back 4, despite them having 2 strikers, and then we changed to the back 3 at 2-1 down. Yeah. So that's obviously, and that got us back into that game against Everton, really. And obviously yesterday we played the full 90 with 3 at the back. And yeah, it's an interesting one. We didn't see it as much last season, but I still think that we'll probably continue the same kind of policy. If 2 strikers, if the opposition plays 2 strikers, we'll go to the back 3 and we'll just try and outnumber him with the centre-backs and that. Well, I still think we'll do that, to be honest, mate. I don't think we'll do it against Liverpool because, obviously Liverpool will be Firmino or Jota, Mane, Salah either side. If you go with 3 centre-backs, you're kind of saying it's one-on-one kind of thing. You're thinking one-on-one against players like that. You need the extra man for me in the back 4. So I think we'll go back 4 against Liverpool. Whether it'll be Struijk or Cooper to come out, I don't know. I'd have thought Struick, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not that I agree with that necessarily, but I think it'll be Llorente and Cooper in that Liverpool game. And I think Click and Firpo, if they're available, come straight back in, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think if Click was in yesterday, I think we would have won the game.
Well, that's a fair point. I think we'd have kept the ball better. I know that much. You've never seen us give the ball away. Well, I have actually. I've seen us give the ball away that much against Man United. But yeah, it'd have made a difference. I think it definitely would have improved us. I hate having to go at Rodrigo, but I'm having to go at Rodrigo again. He did better than Rodrigo in that position. There's no doubt about that at all. But I guess yesterday showed the importance of Matthias Click more than anything. I think he has gone under the radar since we got promoted. That obviously the likes of Rafinha, Llorente, Meslier have all kind of took over from in terms of fan favourites. But you can never underestimate Click's value to this team and Dallas's in midfield.
Yeah, definitely. Disappointing Rafinha was quiet. Charlie Taylor done a great job on.
Yeah, he did. He did until he slipped over on the goal. He did. But Rafinha did do him on the goal. But unfortunately, that was the only moment of quality really Rafinha produced in the game. But it got us the point. I mean, I think that's a sign of a good player, though. If you can be so quiet for 89 minutes and then produce a moment like that. It gets us back into the game. And good to see Shackleton get the assist as well, to be fair.
Definitely.
That's good. Yeah. Good little boost for his confidence. But, well, I'll leave it there, mate. It's been good to see you. Been good to see you again. Absolute legend, Michael. And I believe you got another YouTube channel starting.
Yeah, Mike's Leeds Academy. It's all to do with the under-23s. So I've got my first video coming out today.
Cool stuff. Plenty of Crescencio Somerville.
Yeah, and others.
Yes, I love that. But check it out, guys. Check that out, guys. I will leave a link in the description at the end of this video to Michael's channel because he is an absolute legend. He is an absolute legend of a man, is Michael. But I will leave it there anyway, mate.
Take care. See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
See you in a bit, mate. See you in a bit. Now, we have a familiar face joining us now. We have a familiar face. A lot of love in the comments for Michael. I've got a funny feeling there might be a lot of love in the comments for this man. How are we, mate? How are we?
Yeah, good. I'm doing okay. Yesterday was rubbish, wasn't it, bro? But I'm excited at the minute, Oscar, because I'm excited at the prospect that Leeds actually will do some business before the window's shut.
You got me excited early morning. That Ricky Poo stuff. It's not. I can't go through that again. I can't go through that again. That's he'd be mad. He'd be like yesterday. Bang! Throw him in there for Rodrigo. It's a different game for me in that sense. But
I had to dig Michael out with his comments on my video saying that Somerville's better than James. There's a lot of that going around, and I don't know what people are basing that on because there's a massive difference from under 23s. And regardless of what you think of Dan James, he's doing it in a Manchester United squad. He's getting played in a team that have elite ballers. Well,
he started 2 of the first 3 games for him.
Yeah. And I mean, people forget as well. I mean, this is where my head's at. I was speaking about Bakirji. It's like, Oscar, Dan James is not going to look great in a side that has Greenwood, who's an elite finisher and will go on to play many games for England, Marcus Rashford, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. Let's be honest, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes are on a different wavelength to the majority of the Premier League, let alone players within their own side. You can see sometimes they play balls and they're like getting frustrated because the players haven't made that run. You just have to look at the connection between Pogba and Bruno and see that they're on the same wavelength. I've seen Bruno many times giving it Dan James, but our level of player is more in line with Dan James for me personally. And we need options. And I think, look, rightly or wrongly, Bielsa probably feels that he has adequate cover in centre midfield with Adam Forshaw. I don't agree with it, but that's probably the way he looks at it. However, wing, the fact he's let Poveda go out tells me that, and even in press conferences, he still mentioned 3. He hasn't mentioned Somerville as saying that we've got 4 wingers. I want Somerville to start 100%, but there's a reason he's not. Do you know what I mean? And that's what we have to remember as well. But there's a player there for sure. But I think Dan James one excites me. My only issue is if Leicester come knocking, we lose out, personally.
Yeah, because, I agree. Because obviously Leicester, they've only really got, in terms of options at this moment, I was talking to Locks about this, in terms of their only option on the right is Perez or Albrighton. Yeah. I think Dan James he just ups the tempo, doesn't he, for Leicester, like Harvey Barnes does.
This is the thing, do you think Leicester fans are hammering Dan James? No. They'd be well up for it, I think, anyway. I don't know them, but I think they'd be well up for that signing. But for us, it's like we have this thing, and we've had it all season. The same with my man Conor Gallagher, the same with O'Brien, the same with Dan James, Ryan Kent. We can do better. Really?
But what's better, though? I know there's better players out there than those players,
but we're not in that. We're not in that.
We finished ninth. We didn't finish fifth or sixth. We finished ninth. We weren't really that close to Europa League or Champions League and that lot. And look, you see Tottenham have improved. Tottenham are clearly very likely to finish higher than where they did last season. They're not going to win the league, but they're going to finish higher than where they did last season. Leicester have regrouped. West Ham have come back stronger. Arsenal are just Arsenal. Let's forget about them. But Everton have come back stronger. So you're looking at all these teams that we finished in and around last season. Wolves, I think, will actually be stronger than last season based on how they've been playing. So there's a lot of teams out there with bigger resources than us. They've been in the league longer than us, and they're just better suited. They've got better players than us. So we've got to accept that we might have to take that step back this season. We might finish that place lower, or a couple of places lower. But I agree. I think obviously you've got to look at it and say, it's all well and good saying there's better wingers out there than Dan James.
Yeah.
There's better, but in terms of the way you sell signing for Leeds is that you've got Rafinha on one side, Harrison on the other. Anyone within our price range realistically knows they're going to start on the bench. Rafinha didn't get straight into the team ahead of Helder Costa. We've got to remember that as well. And I think I agree with you on Dan James as well in terms of Man United. At Man United, whenever I've watched them play, everything's through the middle. The wingers look, even Sancho started quite quietly for Man United so far. They just don't get the ball to him. Everything's through Fernandes and Pogba. Playing on the counter-attack. I think with Dan James, you'll see a lot more of the ball. He's obviously got Ayling overlapping him if he plays on the right. He's got Firpo overlapping him if he plays on the left. And that's the other good thing about Dan James. He can play on both sides of the pitch.
Yeah. Versatility, mate. Can you imagine the positives of having Dan James on a counter would be
exactly. If we're chasing a game, you can put James on the right, Harrison on the left, Rafinha through the middle, Bamford or Rodrigo up top. That's something we can't do now at the minute. We can't just put Rafinha into the 10 or move players around. We can't do it because we just haven't got like the depth and versatility within that front three to do it. For me, I wouldn't say Dan James starts over Harrison. I wouldn't say that yet, but he could. He could do that. He could definitely do that. But
and just to put it out there as well, there's a lot of people, Oscar, that says I've seen someone call him a rat bag and all this sort of stuff. Let's just remember he was a Leeds United player. His dad, and he was born in Hull. His dad was a Leeds fan. He was in the door. It was done. Swansea pulled the rug out from us. A season later, we're not in the running, and Manchester United come knocking. Now, Manchester United, I know we dislike them, but they're a Champions League, Premier League title winning, serial winners. Dan James is never turning that deal down. So you can't hammer the guy for that. You know what I mean? And then for him to go there, and like Duncan says, there's a lot of people that said that. I got that on Twitter. Oh, but he chose them. No, he didn't. He didn't have a choice. And no disrespect, of course you're going to go to Manchester United if you're Dan James.
He's playing for Swansea. He's playing for Swansea, you know what I mean?
This is what I mean. Can you imagine the contract that came with that as well, with that jump from Swansea to Manchester United? It's crazy.
No, I'll stay at Swansea. I'll stay at Swansea in the Championship.
Exactly. And the thing is, when we look at Manchester United players, moving across the penalty line, this isn't a Ryan Giggs, this isn't a Paul Scholes, this isn't a people that cut them and they bleed red kind of people. This is Dan James that's had a bit part role. He's not wanted by the fans. It's not worked for him. I believe it. I'm a romantic, this, mate. I think it'd be a brilliant story. I think for him he should have come to us. Yeah, he didn't. He went there. It's not worked out. He then comes to Leeds. Bielsa gets him on the coach, and then that's it. Like he fulfills his potential because there is a lot there, and I think he would thrive under Bielsa. And let's not forget, Bielsa's a massive fan of him. So although he was saying yesterday in the post-match presser, "Oh, I don't think anything will be done," but things develop and they develop quick. And if Victor Orta phoned Bielsa last night and said, "Listen, Dan James is available. Do you want us to make the move?" You know he's saying yeah. So
yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. I mean, we always sign a winger every window. I'm amazed we haven't signed a winger yet. Every single window we sign a winger because as I think Josh Hobbs said yesterday, that everything's is almost too reliant on the wingers now. You look at the team.
Yeah.
We don't kind of have yesterday we didn't have a midfield. The ball went into Calvin. It wasn't like Calvin was then looking to pass into Rodrigo. His first thing he's looking at, what's on my right, what's on my left, who out of Harrison and Rafinha is free? Right, I'll switch it over to that side. And Burnley clocks that yesterday, really. I think they're the first of a couple of teams now so far this season who have clocked that in terms of how reliant we are. If you stop Rafinha, which Burnley did yesterday with Taylor, and obviously McNeil came back to help Taylor with Ayling, and they just did the job on us out wide. So I do think it's going to happen. I do actually genuinely think Dan James will happen. I just think the fact that he was almost through the door. I know it's 2.5 years ago now, which is absolutely mad. That's 2.5 years ago that happened. But the fact he's almost through the door, he already knows Orta, he already knows Bielsa. Yeah. I think with Dan James as well. Whenever you listen to him in interviews, I think he'd love it. The chance to go to Leeds and just prove himself. So because some of the stick he's had from the Man United fan base has been embarrassing. Really, it's typical. Spoiled top six mentality. A little bit like the Arsenal fans with Ben White.
Yeah.
There's no real patience there. He's had stick from pretty much the minute he's walked through the door. I think he'll be determined to prove himself really to Man United and to Solskjaer possibly for not giving them many chances. But we've convinced Mike. Anyway, we've convinced Michael 20, Mike's Leeds Academy. Check the channel out, by the way, guys. Thanks so much for the donation, mate. He still likes Dan James, just not as much as Crescencio Somerville. So, mate, I mean, I couldn't believe how many times our back three, back five, whatever you want to call it, managed to give the ball away in that game.
I think Cooper's passing out from the back was awful yesterday.
But it's under no pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure as well.
Frustrating thing. Rodrigo was doing it in the first half as well, which was so frustrating and getting on my case. There's a conversation that needs to be had about Luke Ayling as well. I think at right wing back, he's not doing it.
Michael mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't think he's done it for a while. I think he looked better on the right of a back three. He was more involved, but I guess he looked more involved because he was always open and he was always the one trying to pop the ball into the channel. But I think in the right wing back position, we're so used to seeing him bombing on and combining with Rafinha. We've not seen it. And Shackleton, when he's come on, we've seen it more from him, Oscar. So I think I'm not advocating Ayling to be dropped out of the side, not for one moment or anything, but I do think it's a worthwhile conversation because he is one of our most reliable players, I would say, over the last few seasons. So maybe he's due a drop off. This can happen. My main worry is, and I said it this morning on my video, like we're a couple of injuries away from a crisis, bro. If we don't get bodies in, genuinely, like people don't want to hear it, but I think if we were to get injuries in key positions, look at yesterday. Firpo, Click, Cock out, and it's all over the shop. Dallas. I mean, Calvin was on his own in midfield again.
But if you did get that injury to Calvin, Calvin got injured against Liverpool. Calvin got injured and Bamford picks up an injury on international duty. Then what?
Yeah, exactly, bro.
And that's just two. That's just two players.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's going to be a tough old season, I think, personally.
How tough are we talking?
No, we're not talking down there.
The battle of allegation.
No, I just think, look, anywhere between 8th and 14th. And 8th is massively, massively optimistic. Do you know what I mean? When Ethan said that, I said, right, give me 8th now. But I think I think anywhere between 8th and 14th is a decent season for Leeds United. Obviously, 8th being absolutely amazing, 14th being okay, you know. But I think a lot's been made from the club. Their stance is that they spent 100 million last summer. And the fact that we didn't see a lot of the players actually play together for a long period of time, they feel that we'll get that this season and see the full potential of the signings, but we're not because they're all injured again. Firpo, I think, is going to start all season, Oscar, because he's new to the regime. He's not played a lot of football at Barcelona, so he'll be start all season. Koch, constantly picking up injuries. Llorente, constantly picking up injuries. I mean, God forbid Stuart Dallas picks up an injury because he plays everywhere, doesn't he? So I just don't know. Like, we haven't even got a proper backup left back, have we? Liam McCarron was on the bench yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's not even a left back.
He's not a left back, he's a left winger.
No.
And
that's why I don't understand why we've let Leaf go, bro.
Oh, see.
No, it's true though.
I agree.
I wish Alioski would have stayed. I've said this, but there's no point giving him not what he's worth, and you know he's on tax-free wages where he's playing now. He'll be on a wad. Like, Leeds ain't going to pay him that, and nor do I think they should have. But the fact that he's gone, then we need a proper left back, and Leif Davis is an option there. But obviously Bielsa doesn't think so, and he's more reliant on Liam McCarron. But I mean, I don't know. I just think we're so light. We're so light, and I think the action that's on the pitch is a mirror image of what's been going on off the pitch. We just look lethargic. You know, I know you mentioned earlier we're not too dissimilar from last season's results in terms of the teams we've played, but
that was being very, very positive.
Yeah, I know you were. Yeah,
I was trying to get the comments up a bit.
We had 6 points, didn't we? We had 6 points this time last season. Admittedly, we played Sheffield United and Fulham, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we'd probably still beat them now, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's how. You know,
and Everton are good, man. Everton are good. Everton are good.
They beat Brighton
we
the way.
We were all hopeful of a win yesterday, and obviously it just didn't pan out that way.
Well, I did think I thought even at half time, I thought, scrappy half, but we'll win this 1-0. I genuinely kept thinking we'll win this 1-0. I always felt the Bamford late goal was coming at half time, but I didn't think it'd be an equaliser. I didn't think it'd be a desperate situation like it was. I mean, there's some of the defending on the set pieces though yesterday. I mean, that's not been an issue for a while, set pieces, but Woods had one in that first sort of 10, 20 minutes. He's just headed it over. Bamford's almost scored an own goal from one, albeit, to be fair, some of the delivery from Westwood on one side, McNeil on the other is just absolutely it's on the money, every single delivery. But that's obviously a concern. But for me, I couldn't think. Part of what's making me more negative is I couldn't think of a worse game to play after the international break than Liverpool at this moment in time. They're going to press us high. We're making mistakes anyway. So you can have Mane, Fabinho, Salah pressing the likes of Coops high. Mellier's distribution's not been quite as good so far. Llorente's making mistakes. You got Aiden a little bit out of form against Mane in 2 weeks' time. Salah against. Will Firpo be available?
Yeah, I think as well, mate. I think Harvey Elliott will cause us all sorts of problems.
Exactly.
Man. All sorts of problems, man. All sorts. He was brilliant against Chelsea, and him on the ball, I think, could cause us all sorts of problems. And then he's going to be, like you say, laying on balls for the likes of Jota, Salah, Mane. It's going to be. I think it could be a tough.
I really do. And you got Alexander Arnold, overlapping.
He's on fire this season, and and them two at the back. I mean, they really stood up to the test of Lukaku, didn't they, at the weekend? I thought Matip and Van Dijk were really good. Although he turned them a few times, they really stood up to him. And what I found as well, Oscar, I don't know if you agree with this sentiment. Bamford's not an unknown entity anymore, and we're seeing in the games Yerry Mina and Tarkowski both getting that battle with him because they respect him now. There's none of this, it's Bamford. They respect him, and you can see that Mina was on at him. Tarkowski yesterday. They know they're in for a tough game, and he's not an unknown quantity anymore, just like Leeds United are. So they know, like, you take Bamford out of this equation, Leeds are struggling. It's a bit like Rafinha, you double up on him, and we're struggling. But I think Bamford now, centre backs are going into the game relishing the chance to go up against him, and I think he's going to have a tough afternoon against Van Dijk and Matip. That's for sure.
I'd probably say out of all the good centre back pairings, I'd probably say that's the best in terms of when Matip's fit. He's absolutely even if Matip's not fit, or Konate, Gomez, whoever you put alongside Van Dijk, it's probably the best centre back pairing in the world. I'd probably say. In terms of the way Van Dijk's come back, and you obviously got the factor of Salah, who's just an absolute machine. It's going to be. The reason I worry a little bit about that Liverpool game is it'll be 4 games in. We're probably going to lose that. Let's just be honest. We're probably going to lose that game. I don't think it's a bad thing to say you're going to lose to Liverpool. There's a good chance we'll lose that game. We then go into Newcastle away with no wins from 4. Fans be panicking. And you don't want to go to somewhere like St. James's Park needing to win or under pressure to win. Difficult. I know they're not starting the season well, but you got your Saint-Maximans, you got your Wilsons. Yeah. You don't want to be going there thinking, if we don't win today, it's no wins out of 5. And that's the only thing that concerns me. I still think, even if we do lose the next 3, I still think we'll bounce back from that. I just think, in terms of the atmosphere, for the first time under Bielsa, it's just, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it can very easily happen. If we don't get that transfer business done, fans will feel annoyed about that. Fans will be annoyed about the start to the season results-wise. Performances dropping off a little bit. We've seen this happen before at Leeds, this sort of drop off. And I just think it's a very important 48 hours, this, for Leeds United. I'd never advocate signing someone for the sake of signing someone. But it does feel like that little boost.
We need bodies, bro. We need it.
A bit like Rafinha. Rafinha came in and gave everyone the lift.
We need bodies.
We could make one signing, okay. Centre mid or a winger, what you doing? You make one signing before midnight tomorrow. If you had the choice, say no one's injured, everyone's fully fit, going back into that international, after that international break, you can sign one or the other. Or even if you want to go for a different position than centre mid or winger.
I think if everybody's fit, and that includes Adam Forshaw, I'd go winger. People will disagree with me.
I thought it was weird that Forshaw didn't come on yesterday. I really thought...
He's not ready, is he, bro? He's not ready. He's only on the bench because of this 9. He can't be ready, I don't think. I think Bielsa wants him to play 2 games in a week before he...
Not even as a sub for 20 minutes against Burnley. I think he could have done that yesterday.
But it's like, I was talking to Cage yesterday, though, and he said, Joe, man, he says, if Adam Forshaw would have been on the end of that Barnes challenge, it'd have probably needed a new hip.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
In that game, mate, he could have been bashed up. I've seen a lot of people say, just to mention it in the chat as well, about, oh, this is negative, oh, this is that. What's there to shout about at the minute, though? Like, you have to be real. I can't be positive about something that I'm struggling to get the positives from. Okay, but positive yesterday because we picked up a point. But that's it. What I thought Meslier was okay yesterday. I thought he stood up to the test. It was never going to be an easy task. Bamford came up clutch. Other than that, Rafinha was rubbish. Yeah. He turned Charlie Taylor. That was his one moment. I thought he was poor. Jack Harrison didn't have the best game. Rodrigo goes missing. I don't know what he does. Calvin, obviously, tough game for him because he's on his own. I thought he did well. He was up for the physical battle. Luke Aylin's not his best. I don't know what I can't make shit up. Do you know what I mean? Am I being too negative, Oscar? But
no, I don't think so. I think you just got to look at what your eyes don't lie to you. Your eyes don't lie to you. I mean, as much as what we've done over the last 2 or 3 years has been superb, and I still, no matter what happens this season, even if we do a Sheffield United, the last 2 or 3 years has been superb. But that counts for nothing now in terms of this season, in terms of the way we've finished last season with the 4 wins in a row. It counts for nothing now. We've got to look at this season with Firpo out. Look at that, he's got injury problems. The team is pretty much the same. You could even argue in terms of depth, it's probably weaker because obviously Pablo, Berardi, Alioski have moved on. I know Pablo and Berardi weren't regulars, but there were still options kind of thing. Alioski obviously played out 30 games last season, so it's actually weaker in terms of the squad. Everyone else around us is strengthened, including your Wolves, including your Crystal Palace have strengthened for me. I was looking at Crystal Palace starting 11 and thinking Gallagher, obviously the two centre halves are signed, Guehi and Anderson. I think that's like, they've gone for it, Palace. All right, they might not have the right man at the job, but you've still got to look at what's happening here and now. And again, I'll mention Sheffield United one more time, but Sheffield United, again, didn't really kick on in terms of after they finished 10th or something like in the first season.
Ninth, I think. Was it 9th? I don't know.
That's even worse. Jinx. We were 9th as well. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we're going to do Sheffield United. Bielsa's far too good for that. Rafinha, Phillips, Bamford. I think we've got too much quality to do anything like that. But the only thing Sheffield United did last season that I can remember was sign Ryan Brewster. And that was a disaster of a signing from the off, really, that one.
Yeah.
So they didn't really strengthen the team. And that got to 9th. So you got to look at it from that point of view, that if you don't strengthen, you're not going to go sideways. You're going to go backwards. You're not just going to finish 9th again, unless... Yeah. I just think if you got someone like...
There's a guy, Amity Winehouse on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I think he put it perfectly, and he said yesterday, without being too miserable after 3 games, my outlook all summer long was 17th place or above is a good season. Doing all your business for 2 seasons in one summer is nice in theory, but in practice, it can be very different, and you can't stand still in the Premier League. And that's what Leeds United have done this window. They have stood still. And I think we have to, and I said this yesterday, and he goes on to say, I hope it won't be the worst sort of season possible, but I also think spending a bit more in the market could have led to a good or very good season, which I now suspect this won't be. And I think that's bang on. I'm not concerned about relegation one iota, but what I'm saying is we have to realise that we will go on winless runs, we will struggle in games. It will be a lot tougher than it was this time last season when we were blowing teams out of the water. We were an unknown entity. We had fresh squad, new signings. Everyone had a boost, whereas at the minute it's the same bodies and there's no real spark. There's no real spark for me. Like, if we're struggling in a game, we have no one to turn to. I like Tyler Roberts, and I get what you were saying yesterday. It'd probably be a better starter than Rodrigo at this moment in time, 100%. But what I'm saying is, if he's not, if you're looking for players to come on and change the game, yes, he can have a little impact, but he's not having an impact where we go from 1-0 down to winning the game 2-1. That's just my opinion. Same
Tyler Roberts, but that's it. That's what I was saying to Rhiannon yesterday. Tyler Roberts, when I think of impact players off the bench, I'm thinking of you got to go back a long way since we've had like a real impact off the bench. I'm thinking maybe like Jack Clark in that first season under Bielsa for the first half.
He was, yeah.
But you always knew, you know what, if we're struggling in the game, I know obviously it went wrong for Jack Clark, but that first sort of season...
No, you bang on, mate. You bang on. He was great.
What an option to have. He
Every time he came on, we used to give him the ball. Give him the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
His fullback. Yeah, and we don't... Like, you're not...
And Tyler's not that, though. I love Tyler, but he's not that yet.
Coming on and giving it to Costa and him going to skin his fullback. He's not doing it. If anything, he's turning back on himself because he's full no confidence and gives the ball away. Maybe that's why I want to see Somerville, because I think Somerville would give us that. I think he would have a go at skinning his fullback. But it all depends on what Bielsa's so big on system and what players do off the ball. Maybe Somerville's not doing that to a good enough level, and that could hamper us and hurt us as well with spaces and stuff, you know. But yeah, look, I think, and I said it this morning, it's all a bit meh. That's it. The season, the games, the transfer window, it's all a bit meh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And in order to bring that up, and I'm not advocating just making signings for the signing's sake, but I do think, look, we've now got 24 hours for, I don't know, 32 hours? I don't know. It closes tomorrow night at 11. We've got, time to make some signings, and I think we need them, regardless of what Bielsa thinks, regardless of what order and that. From my perspective and my opinion, we need bodies, because as I've said, we are a few inches away from a bit of a crisis, I think.
Well, you've got, I hate to say it, but you've got two of the biggest clubs in Europe have just informed the whole footballing world today that they've got two players they don't want. Dan James, Ricky Puig. Yes, two players. They've said it. Ronald Koeman said in the post-match conference yesterday that he doesn't count on that player. And you're thinking, in terms of what we need, maybe a little bit of a mini Pablo and somebody who could maybe just inject in a game like that yesterday. Yes, he'd got kicks to pieces. He'd have to develop physically to play in the Premier League for me. But you know what? It's an option. It's an option to bring in. You know, imagine that though. He signed someone from Barcelona. Look at the boost when Firpo signed in terms of, you know, most of the fan base had never seen him play before. But the fact that he had Barcelona on there, it gave everyone a bit of a boost. Dan James is a chance to prove himself against Man United. And that's two players we know that are available. You know, even if it's just loans. Honestly, I've heard obviously about the Conor Gallagher stuff, as we mentioned, that a lot of people were against Conor Gallagher. But a lot of people were against that.
Yeah, exactly. Craziness.
But do you think Crystal Palace fans will have walked out of West Ham, walked out of the London Stadium and thinking, oh, yeah, but we're going to lose them in the summer? They're not going to think that. He's just saying a point.
Yeah, this is so frustrating, right? And I don't understand it. And I even seen people saying it on the Dan James scenario. We are, right, we're Leeds United, okay? Big club, huge, I get it. But we have to recognise where we are in the football pyramid currently, right? Just like Blackburn have took Poveda, just like they took Harvey Elliott, they understand in order for them to have a better season, they take better players from, up in the football pyramid. No one's going, why are Poveda? Why are we? Why? Yeah. Like, are they having a go at Blackburn fans for accepting the fact that we've loaned them Poveda for a season? What we have to understand is, and it's the same with Conor Gallagher, a lot of people going, wouldn't dare do that. What? He would improve us immeasurably. He would improve us immeasurably. People said he wasn't good enough. Listen, he was class at Charlton. He got moved to Swansea. He was class there. He was class in a poor West Brom side. And he'll be class for Crystal Palace. Yes, he might not see his career at Chelsea, but he will be a very good midfielder. I think Leeds United clearly wanted him. And I just think this thing of, oh, well, why should we improve it? It's BS, man. We're nowhere near these clubs. We're going... If they offer us a player who's going to improve us for a season, take it.
Yeah.
Take it, because he improves you for the season. It is what it is. Like, if you're priced out of a deal in the summer, so be it. Like, we have to recognise where we are in the football pyramid. We cannot say to people, it's like me, right? I don't have a job at the minute, okay? I'm starting university soon. If someone said to me, oh, Joe, I could give you a job, but there's no chance it might be permanent, and I'm skint, I'm not going to go, no, you have to make it permanent at the end, otherwise I'm not coming. We're in that situation in that we don't really have an option, guys, like to say to Chelsea, you've got to, well, this is just my opinion. I think it's poor to say, and that's just my opinion, why should we improve other people's players, all this sort of stuff? Like, yeah, Jameson's bang on, and I said this when Conor Gallagher was linked. People are saying about Ben White, he got us promoted. If Conor Gallagher would have come in and we got Europe, I don't care if he goes.
Exactly.
He would have had that much of an impact, but that's what can happen. So, yeah, exactly, Mark. Improvement for a season improves your league position. It means you win games. It means you enjoy it a lot more. I'd sooner that happened than be sat here going, oh, we're not going to get anyone in the door. Whereas if we had Conor Gallagher yesterday, we'd have been better. If we'd have had Conor Gallagher against Everton, we'd have been better. He would improve this side. I'm sorry to say, he's better than what we've got. But people don't want to take him because they don't want to have him for a season on loan because he's not going to come permanent. I don't understand it, Oscar.
I agree. It's like saying, let's say Dortmund, all right, they know Haaland can go next season for 70 mil. Do you think Dortmund fans are saying, oh, get him out the door now. Get him out the door. Let's get that 200 mil now. Yeah. Dortmund, no, they've got no... If they let someone like Haaland go, they know they're going to probably slip out the Champions League. You got to look. You can't look too far into the future. You can't look back. Don't get me wrong. You still got to have a long-term view, but you can't base everything you do on the long term and say, if someone's going to improve you here in the here and now, and it's a loan move. It's not even a big financial commitment. If Conor Gallagher came here... it's just an example, Conor Gallagher. There's been Ricky Puig would probably be the same kind of thing. He's saying we're improving the Barcelona player, but just get him in. Just get him in. You know, in terms of if he's going to improve. If you see what we did yesterday, saw what we did for quite. Look, the Everton game is probably the best we played out of the three. But it was the best we played out of the three. Yeah. And you see what happened against Man United. You've seen the players that have come out. Just, I think you can't be too picky now. We're not in that. We're not a city.
This is what I'm saying. People don't understand where we are in the football pyramid. Yeah. It's like Legion. We're huge. And I get all that, but we have to be realistic, guys. Like someone genuinely said to me about improving Conor Gallagher against our rival. And I went, Chelsea just won the Champions League. They're not our rival. Like, anyway, they will be in a couple of seasons. No, they won't. Because by that logic, improvement season on season will win the league in about 4 seasons. It's just not viable. You can't do that in the Premier League. You can't just continue to improve. Otherwise, there'd be more Premier League winners than the 7 that have won it or whatever number it is. I think it's 7 Blackburn, Leicester. It's irrelevant anyway. But what I'm saying is there is a ceiling. You know. Europe, of course, we can get in there. Maybe one day Champions League. That would be amazing. And if we get rich owners, we win the league. That would be even better. But what I'm saying
that's just it, though. It's unthinkable. Leeds... For me, finishing the Champions League or really getting to where we were 20 years ago under O'Leary, we can't. Obviously that was largely built on the academy, but they still had to make big signings during that time. You still had to sign the likes of Ferdinand, players like that, big names, quality players. But we had to break transfer records to make these kind of signings, and that was to compete at the top. Unfortunately, your Leicester Cities. I know Leicester's the example; they won the league under Ranieri, etc., but Greece won the Euros. Do you think that's going to happen again in any time soon? In terms of like the Premier League, European Championships, Champions League, that a surprising team's going to win it. You don't get a lot of Leicester Cities, Porto's winning the Champions League under Mourinho. It just doesn't happen very much. We can't think in that sense. But in terms of where we're at as a club, you're looking at that midfield at this moment in time. If we had 4 or 5 options who are absolutely on it, another Calvin Phillips, another Matthias Klick, another Stuart Dallas. If we had 5 or 6 players of that quality, then I'd probably agree with Conor Gallagher and say, we've already got quality players. We've got players there who might even be better than Conor Gallagher. But we haven't. We haven't got that situation at this moment in time. Klick's 31. As he gets older, inevitably he's going to start picking up injuries. He had that one last season. It's not a flick of a switch. That could come back. Stuart Dallas might have to fill in for Firpo at left back. We can't... I wouldn't say crisis because we've got very good players in midfield, but it's not ideal. You can't just write off players like that, for me, personally. Dallas is 30 as well, as Ethan says. So... Yeah, I agree. And I do think now, I'd never say the performance yesterday would be a blessing, but it might just
make a little bit.
I don't think we'll do 2. I don't think we'll do 2 signings, but we might just get that one through the door. It might be a Dan James. It might be someone else. Who knows? But we will wait and see on that anyway. But I don't know. I mean, anyway, mate. I mean, any man of the match yesterday?
You'd have to give it Bamford, wouldn't you? I think. I like Meslier yesterday because it was no easy task.
What's your mate to Meslier on the goal, though?
I don't think he can do any better, mate. I mean, it's flicked in, innit, by Wood. I think the square ball lads got it right. They were saying about maybe he should react, but if he's waiting to react from Wood, then if Wood misses it, it goes in the net anyway. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. They were both similar sort of finishers, weren't they? A bit scrappy from shots, and your main man's up top just know where to be, right place, right time. I think the important thing is from yesterday, Patrick Bamford got off the mark.
Yeah.
Which is huge. He's had a couple of assists. He's now got a goal. He's going to be vital this season. And also maybe it makes the club make some moves. I think Radrizzani's stupid coming out saying Forshaw's the new midfielder, because if Forshaw breaks down and we end up light, he's going to get...
I didn't see it. Is that on Twitter?
Yeah, someone asked him in response to Bamford when he was congratulating Bamford. He went, "Where's our new centre midfielder?" And his response was Adam Forshaw on Twitter, which I think is silly because if Adam Forshaw breaks down and we're light, he's just going to come back to bite him. So that's why I don't think we'll go after a centre midfielder, mate. That's what I'm saying. I think Bielsa looks at the situation and says, we're okay there. Whether you agree with him or not's a different thing. I don't agree. But I think that's why we'll go for a winger, because I see Bielsa looking at the squad, and we know he has the final say. We know in previous seasons he's turned down Lang, he's turned down Cunha, he's turned down Billy Sharp, he turned down, the guy at Brian Glenn Murray, etc. We know that he's like that. So I think he looks at that and looks at Forshaw and thinks, he's okay, he's coming through, we'll be all right in that position. But wing, he's let one go, so I think and the fact it's Dan James, bro. It's Dan James, and he's massive on Dan James.
Yeah, we signed him. We signed him. We actually got this guy through the door and that lot, and it's a big thing. I mean, there'll probably be all sorts of stuff like in terms of like pre-arranged fees and all this lot to sort out, and obviously we've got to be a little bit careful on that after Costa. For me, Costa and JKA, that's 35 mil. That's the especially on JKA, when you think
at the time, though, bro, it made sense.
At the time, we all said do it. I'm not going to criticise. As I said, I'm not criticising Orta for that because he got Meslier for 5 mil, so it swings and roundabouts. But when you look at it like that and you think 35 mil, but it's just it's paid. And Atletico signed Cunha for like 25 mil, I think. So you're thinking,
I don't know. And I've seen people mention Anguissa in the chat. Russell, he's now gone to play a Champions League football somewhere.
I didn't even rate Anguissa that much, to be honest.
He's going to be.
Thought it was a bit of a.
KG brought up Cooper Miners. I think he's gone for 16 million, but he's gone to a Champions League club, though. This is the thing, and it's like. People are saying Damsgaard, get it, would love it, but he's out of our ballpark. His next move is to a Champions League club. And people need to realise as well, next season, this is what's frustrating me as well, right, when we strip it back. We're not doing any business. We're going to leave ourselves light. We're not going to have anywhere close to the season we had last season. We may finish bottom half. I don't think we'll be in any trouble. But then what you've got to remember, guys, European clubs will come knocking for Calvin and Rafinha.
Yeah.
They will.
Meslier, I think.
So, if we're not getting into Europe and we're not progressing, Calvin will go. Like, people don't want to hear it, but look at Liverpool and Henderson. When he goes, Calvin, genuinely, I see that. And he's a starter at England. He had the next step for Calvin is European football. Look at the Declan Rice situation at West Ham. Had they have not got European football last season, he'd have gone. Yeah. And it doesn't mean we have to get into the Champions League. We just need to be progressing. They'll get another season out of Declan Rice. They'll have another good season, and then they can improve and bring in.
And they'll get 50. They'll probably get another 50 mil on top, I think, for Declan Rice. So he could go for. I mean, if Chelsea wanted Declan Rice or Man United, Chelsea or Man United want Declan Rice and put an offer in on deadline day now, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but if they did, West Ham aren't going to sell for under 100 mil. I genuinely don't think they sell under 100 mil now.
Yeah. There you go.
And
Mike's
that's it.
bang on as well. They're saying about Calvin would have gone to Villa had we not gone to the Premier League. And that's the thing, we got in there. He gave us that. But if we finish bottom half, after bringing nobodies in and it doesn't look like it's progressing and Liverpool come knocking for Calvin or they come knocking for Rafinha or Man United or whatever come for Rafinha, then know that they will want to make that move and there'll be bids in there that Leeds won't be able to turn down and there'll be contracts offered to these players that they'll want. They have to secure the futures and stuff, etc. So, that has to be factored in as well for Oscar for me.
Just before we finish, I'll let you go now, mate. But the last thing on that is we can't work on the basis that Bielsa will be here forever.
No,
who's to say?
That's another thing.
The thing that worries me a little bit at the minute, and it's coming into my mind, I'm thinking Marseille, I'm thinking Lazio. This is the first time and Lille actually. This is the first time since Lille when he left like less than halfway through the season where he's not started great. It's like that. The season start fantastically well. Marseille, Bilbao, Leeds. it just worries me a little bit that if we say did lose the next 4 games, just the way Bielsa works, if he starts to blame himself, if he starts to think that maybe there's a little bit of fatigue mentally with 1 or 2 players. Like with Aylin's dropped off a little bit at the start of the season. Arguably a couple of players have dropped off a little bit, in terms of the start of the season. I'm just saying you can't work on the basis that Bielsa will be here forever. It's not. I think you'll see. I think you'll see certainly this season through.
I do think his tenure's coming to an end very soon, though. Like I look at the Paveda situation, and the fact that the club said he'll be back. I don't think he gets game time under Bielsa. So are they looking at Paveda and thinking, yeah, he'll be back, but because they have to make continuous contingency plans, because there will come a time when Bielsa's not here. And what I don't want is Bielsa's stubbornness to not allow this squad to improve. And then when he goes, we're still stuck with the cohort of players that got up from the Championship. And the manager that comes in is nowhere near. He's going to be anywhere close to what Bielsa can give us. And therefore, do we struggle that season after? We're always going to be struggling. Look, I'm projecting. I did this on my video. I'm thinking about all the worst case scenarios. We've got 2 points on the board. International break. Hopefully we see some bodies in the door. We come back, we beat Liverpool, and then everyone's bouncing, Oscar.
Well, on that note, I'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone who's joined today, and especially our man there, Just Joe. Check out the channel. Check out the channel if you haven't done already. Just Joe Football Show. Get it checked out. And I guess we'll leave it there.
I need to shoot, okay? Thank you very much.
No worries at all, man. No worries at all.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Right then, guys. We will see you later, guys. See you later. And make sure you check out Tash's matchday vlog of the Burnley game as well. It's a cracker. And we will see you later, guys. I'll try to end this stream. See you later, guys.